So what do you guys want to know? The starting lineup?
You got it for us?
No, I don't have a clue.
Like a night like this, I know it hasn't really started yet, but just being here and celebrating you, what's it mean to you?
Well, it brings back good memories for one, and I did have a lot of good memories here. We had good teams, and we were always competing for a championship, or we were on the verge of it. So it's always nice to come back, and the warm welcome and things. It's much appreciated.
You're now Hall of Fame career. When you look back on it, how special was Detroit in that journey?
It was very special. It kind of prolonged my career. There was 10 years apart from both cups in Calgary and Detroit, but it was to prove to myself I could still play in the league, and I knew I was going to a team that was on the verge of great things. They had great teams and things like that, and so I knew I'd have an opportunity. It's just if it would happen or not. And my first year here, we lost unfortunately to Jersey, but 2 years after that, we finally cracked the egg. So it was good.
Mike, would you, after your first few years that you were eligible for the Hall, were you still thinking about it, possibly getting in, or did that one phone call surprise you?
Well, I'd be remiss if I never thought of it, but it never kept me up at night or anything like that, and I never thought of it all the time. But when after your first 3 years out of the league, then you're eligible, and then you just kind of start looking at it, and you look at maybe some of the numbers and things like that, and you see who gets in and who doesn't get in, and I never got too concerned about it. I never knew if I'd ever get in, but I'd never lose sleep over it. And I've always used to say, if I have the numbers and they recognize that, then that's what I want to be recognized as, is having the numbers to qualify to get into the Hall of Fame. So I guess the 14 out of 18 thought I was eligible this time.
We talk about numbers with the guy you shared the net with here in Detroit. A lot of people think he's on that cusp of joining in the Hall.
Absolutely. I mean, he's won 2 cups and the wins and things like that. So you got to be patient. You can't push it. You do have to, I had an advocate in the Calgary Flame organization that put some stuff together and sent it into the Hall of Fame and kind of made your case for it, right? And that's kind of what you have to do, I gather. And my daughter wrote a letter a bunch of years ago too, and it didn't work. But eventually, I think that in Ozzy's case, I think there's a matter in time he'll get there. I don't know if it will be next year or when, but there's candidates coming up all the time. I think it's Zetterberg's coming up this year, and I mean he's pretty much a shoe-in too for it. So, and is Datsuk coming up too? So there's 2 big names that did a lot for this organization. So, and there's a lot of other players out there with good numbers. So I just think Ozzy's just got to be patient, and it will come. He's a lot younger than I am, so he's got lots of time.
You and Ozzy are still pretty tight. How did the conversation go? The first conversation after you were inducted or told that you were going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Did you call him? Did he call you?
No, he texted me and said congratulations, but I was there a few years ago in Toronto watching a game and not knowing it was the Hall of Fame game. And Ken Holland walks out and he's getting inducted. And I text him right away. I said, I can't believe you got in before I did. And he the next morning he got the message and he said, are you in town? I said, yes. He said, you got to come to the party. So I did attend his party and things like that. But yeah, it's great to be recognized for what you've done and in your careers and things like that. And there's no doubt Ozzy's going to have his time, and he'll be there one day.
You think about all the Hall of Fame players that you've played with, and now you're one of them. Is that
Yeah.
feel a little strange? Or
Well,
think about you used to calling yourself a Hall of Famer?
yeah, I do pinch myself every so often, but when I first got my ring, it's at the ceremony, I'm looking straight across at Glen Hall. I look up, and there's Gump Worsley, there's Jacques Plante, and I'm like, holy smokes, this is ridiculous. Why am I here? And then you go back further, more my year, and you got guys like Patrick Waugh, Stevie Yzerman, Nick Lidstrom, Al McGuinness, all these other players that I played against, Joe Sakic, and all these other guys, and we had great battles. And, I'm just glad that like I said, have the numbers to be in that class and part of the Hall of Fame. It is a great honor, and I'm very blessed.
Just when you started the NHL to today, just the differences in goaltenders, the size.
Where do you want to start? There's a lot of difference, and the game is different too. The equipment, the size of the goalie. The goalie now is the biggest guy on the team. I would say they're more robotic type. Like everything is position, and they collapse and try to cover as much of the bottom of the net and stay big. My sort of style and Chris Osgood, obviously, were smaller type goaltenders, but we relied on our reflexes and catching the puck and trying to use our tools to the best of our ability. And now it's a different game. You look at goaltenders, and I've never seen so many goals go in from the goal line, behind the goal line, or at the goal line at sharp angles. Because the guys are going down and they're picking the corners. And these guys are shooting the puck are probably a lot better too, don't get me wrong. They're better sticks, and these guys, you give them 3 inches by 1 and they'll put the puck in there. So it's a total different game. There's not a lot of contact. It's a speed game, very quick. I think that's one of the biggest things is the quickness of the game. I watch old video of myself when I first started off, and you could tell there's no advertisement on the boards or the ice surface, and things just looked a lot slower. And nowadays, the game is so fast and split-second decisions, and you got to be on your toes. And we saw that the other night here, how quickly the tide can turn.